The Seasonal Worker Program is an Australian government initiative that will contribute to the economic development of Pacific Island countries and East Timor. The program will also offer a reliable, returning workforce to Australian employers who have a demonstrated unmet demand for labour and a commitment to Australian job seekers. This program is open to employers in the horticulture industry and also includes a small-scale trial with accommodation, aquaculture, cane and cotton businesses. The participating sectors in the program have long spoken of the difficulties of attracting and retaining reliable seasonal labour. Many businesses report that they experience high turnover and therefore spend time and money constantly training workers. Others have difficulties even finding enough workers for their peak seasons. The program gives businesses an option to access a reliable, returning workforce. Australian job seekers must have the opportunity to apply for the jobs available before seasonal workers are offered employment in Australia. This is why approved employers are required to demonstrate their unmet demand for labour and show a commitment to Australian job seekers before they are given approval by the Australian Government to recruit seasonal workers. Seasonal workers can be recruited from East Timor, Kiribati, Nauru, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tonga, Tuvalu and Vanuatu. Through the Seasonal Worker Program, Australia is helping some of its nearest neighbours that are in need of development assistance. Seasonal workers can earn much more in their short time in Australia than they would at home. And with their earnings, they are able to make important changes in their communities, such as sending their children to school, building a permanent house or starting a business. Seasonal workers also contribute to the economic development of their countries through the skills they attain while in Australia. Seasonal workers are placed in low-skilled jobs in areas of Australia where horticulture, accommodation, aquaculture, cane and cotton businesses find it difficult to attract and retain reliable workers. When businesses in these sectors are unable to find suitable local workers, the program provides access to seasonal workers from 14 weeks through to 6 months. Seasonal workers can also return in following years. Seasonal workers are not a cheap labour option and will cost more than hiring local labour. The main cost associated with participating in the program is a worker's international flight. And this is because approved employers are required to purchase the workers' return international airfares to Australia up front, of which a portion can be recouped from the worker during their stay. An evaluation found that while seasonal workers do cost more, they are more productive than other workers. Businesses can access seasonal workers by applying to become an approved employer or by contacting an existing approved employer who can provide seasonal workers on hire. Before employers can be approved by the Australian Government to participate in the program, they need to meet government requirements. If you apply to become an approved employer, you will first need to complete an expression of interest form. If you're successful in meeting these initial requirements, you'll then be invited to apply to become a sponsor. If your sponsorship application is approved, you will become an approved employer, also known as a special program sponsor. As an approved employer, your business will be responsible for a number of matters, including recruiting candidates, paying for the full return international airfare, some of which may later be recouped from the worker, guaranteeing workers a minimum average of 30 hours of work per week, and providing pastoral care to the workers during their time in Australia. If you choose to go through an existing approved employer, you will not be responsible for any of these requirements. You will simply need to talk to the approved employer about how many workers you would like to access, when you would want them to arrive, the type of work they will be doing, and the attributes you would like to see in those workers. You may wish to consider entering into a written agreement with the approved employer detailing your agreed arrangement. Approved employers will guarantee a minimum amount of work per week, arrange accommodation of a suitable standard, health insurance and transport to and from work, pay workers in accordance with the relevant award or industrial instrument, provide a 24-hour phone number for workers to reach their employer, assist workers with initial living expenses and access to personal banking and other administration, link workers to the local community and report regularly to the Australian Government. These measures maximise the potential benefits for seasonal workers and minimise the potential for their exploitation. Seasonal workers must be employed in accordance with Australian work standards. There are measures built into the program to ensure seasonal workers receive protection and support from their approved employer, the Australian Government and their local community. Seasonal workers must have the opportunity to benefit financially from their participation in the program to reduce the likelihood of a worker returning home with a nominal amount of savings or no savings at all. Under their agreements with the Australian Government, approved employers must provide support to seasonal workers while they're in Australia. The support and pastoral care they provide assists workers to adjust to living and working in this country. Pastoral care is a key part of the program, which extends beyond typical employment arrangements and is the provision of services directed to the emotional, financial, physical, social and spiritual support and well-being of a person. Providing pastoral care to seasonal workers benefits the workers, the approved employers, the participating businesses and the community where seasonal workers are living and working. It's very important under the program that approved employers communicate clearly to workers their processes and expectations to reduce confusion and instill trust in the employer-employee relationship. If disputes arise between seasonal workers and employers or supervisors in the workplace that cannot be resolved, dispute resolution processes should be entered into. This may involve an independent third party sitting down with the approved employer and seasonal workers to mediate an outcome between the two parties. Seasonal workers can be provided with add-on skills training while in Australia in English literacy and numeracy, first aid and basic computer skills. And returning seasonal workers have access to recognition of prior learning against Australian Quality Training Framework competencies. The training contributes to seasonal workers' opportunities on returning home, including enterprise development and participation in further education and training. Any job-specific training or mandatory occupational health and safety must be provided by the approved employer. Anyone interested in learning more about the Seasonal Worker Program should contact the Seasonal Worker Program team at the Department of Education, Employment and Workplace Relations.